Are you back, T? Hello, everyone. I was just waiting for you to get back from commercial. Happy Monday to you. How are all of you? Today is Monday, March 27th, 2023, and I am Angela with Happy Little Stitch Shop. And today we are here for Flosstube Monday, and we have kind of some fun things planned. So hopefully it'll all work out as I see it in my brain, but there are no guarantees. So hold on tight and be ready for that. But let's see, how are all of you, first of all, and how is your weekend? Did everybody have a good weekend? Let's see who is here. Hello, Leanne. What's everybody working on? Hey, Jude. Hello, Janine. Hello, Margaret. Hello, Louise. Hello, Ruth P. Hello, Susan. Hello, Stacy. Hello, Fiber Arts Amy. Hello, Sherry. Hello, Jody. Americana Red. That was one of our March Sampler Madness in our bracket. Hello, Carrie. Hello, Donna Marie. Hello, Stacy. Hello, Happy Stitcher. Stitching on Prairie Life. Hello, Kay. I'm stitching on Garden State Sampler with Angela and Lori. Oh, good. The Garden Sampler from Prairie Schooler. I love it. Hello, Tammy S. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Nancy. Hello, Donna Marie. Hello, Patricia. Snowy Wisconsin. Where are you that it's still snowing? Hello, Nancy. Hello, Pam. Hello, Missy. Sad to be back at work. Well, I can't blame you for that. Hello, Valeria. Hello, Gail. Hello, Laurel. Aloha. Hello. Hello, Vanessa. First time in a long time that I've been able to join you live. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. And hello, Chris and Mary Jo. Hello, hello. Did everybody have a good weekend? I hope you guys all had a good weekend. We got snow again this weekend, like 7 inches or something like that. It was crazy, or more. I don't even know. But we got a lot of snow, which was not fun. So there was that. What else? I do have a story for my little one that you guys might enjoy. So she's very into playing cards right now. And it's spring break this week. And so she's very excited to have her siblings here to be able to play with them. And she was playing cards with my youngest son the other day. And they were playing slapjack. And she beat him to slap the jack. And he was like, "You did not beat me." And she said, "I did too. I beat you." And he's like, "No, you didn't. I got there first." And my husband was sitting there and he goes, "She got it first. She beat you." And she goes, "Mwah, ha, ha, ha." It was very funny. And the timing was perfect. And I couldn't help but laugh at that. It was perfect. Hello, Crafty Grandma. I attended a 4-day cross-stitch retreat. Oh, good. Louise spent 2 days working with fellow quilters on some quilts of valor. I love that. 12-ish inches in Johnson Creek. Are you serious, Tammy S? Valeria, thank you for the super chat. Valeria gave us a super chat that says, "You are amazing." Thank you so much. I bet moving time is nearing for you. I hope that it goes smoothly for you. Hello, Arlene. You just planted some pansies. We can't plant any pansies. We'd have to dig through snow. So, not quite yet. But that's fun for you. 60 degrees there. Oh, that sounds lovely. She sounds so funny. Hello, Polly from Cresco, Iowa. Hello. So glad you are here. Friday is moving day, Valeria. Oh my goodness. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Like, is everything packed? Are you ready to go? Are you stressing? Or do you feel like it's going to go pretty smoothly? I had a few meltdowns. Oh no. Well, you're almost over the hump, right? Like it's almost done and behind you. So that's got to feel good too. So hopefully all goes well. We'll send some positive moving vibes your way that everything goes smoothly without problem. No setbacks. Okay, so today we have Dee here. She's going to read your comments. So if you hear a voice just appear, just kind of sound out of nowhere, it's Dee. She's going to read comments for us. And we are going to do something different today. And so be prepared if there are some bumps here and there. I'm not sure how smoothly it's going to go, but we're going to give it a try. And I'm going to try to show you. We had a couple requests from you guys to show how to start a cross stitch. Like when you pick a stitch that you want to do and you've got your fabric and you've got your floss, how do you start it? Do you start from the middle? Do you start from here and there? So I'm going to show you how I start my cross stitches when I start a new one. And then the other thing is we were asked to show how to stitch over two on Lugana. So I'm going to show you that too. And we are going to try to do it so that we can get up close enough so you guys can really see what I'm doing. So I hope it goes smoothly, but just be patient with us. Kay says, hello team, welcome back. Have a great spring break. Yay. The other thing before we jump into that stuff, first of all, we started over the weekend, March Sampler Madness. So we are in the process of figuring out what the final sampler is going to be, which will be our September sampler stitch along. The year before last, can I remember what it was? I think last year was This is the Day and Prairie Life. We kind of had two sampler September stitch alongs start. So Prairie Life by Heartstring Samplery and This is the Day by Plum Street Samplers. And then the year before, I can't remember what our first year was, but it's kind of a fun game. It's all just in good fun. People vote for their sampler that they would like to advance to the next round. So we started out with about 32 samplers. We're down to 16 left. And we will keep working our way through until the final sampler has been chosen. And that will be our September sampler stitch along. Valeria, I thought the Blue Bonnets kit would arrive in March. Blue Bonnets. Are you talking about Sunbonnet Sue? Yes, we are working on that. And I will be sure to update you. But I'm not shipping anything to you now till you get moved and settled into your new space. Per your request, my friend. Stacy, since Americana Run is out of the running, are you going to bring it into shop? Yes, I sure can. Just because it doesn't win or advance doesn't mean I won't still carry it in the shop. So we'll still have it. Brick House, that's right. How could I forget that, Becky? Brick House Sampler was our first one. That's right. Because I finished it. So it's a good finish. So March Sampler Madness is happening. You are welcome, Stacy. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that This I Know, Paulette shipped it to me. It arrived over the weekend. It's in stock. So This I Know, this was a Nashville market release that I tried to get from Paulette, but I think I was so distracted by all of the other pretty things that I forgot to get it. So I contacted her when I got back and I was like, I don't know what happened, but I don't have this. And so she shipped it to me right away. So thank you so much, Paulette. And This I Know is now here. I know a lot of you have been waiting for it. It is here and it is in stock. So This I Know by Plum Street Samplers is in stock, ready to ship. Also, we were very busy over the weekend cutting and packaging and putting into inventory the 50 pounds of Legacy Fiber Arts cloth that we received from Sue. Beautifully hand dyed cloth from Sue at Legacy Fiber Arts. Thank you so much for sending that to us. We are now fully stocked at least last time I checked. There are no guarantees, but last time I checked, we were fully stocked in Legacy Fiber Arts cloth in all of the colorways, in counts 14 count Ada, 16 count Ada, 32 count linen, which is a new arrival for our shop, 36 count linen, and 40 count linen, plus a new colorway that we have not carried before called Millstone, available in all of those counts. And I also added our special blend of Prairie. We have a special LFA blend called Prairie, and that's in the shop in, I think, 16 and 32 count. So Legacy Fiber Arts is out there. Cloth is ready to ship your way. Oh, good, Valeria. Stacy, fantastic. That pattern is on my list. Perfect for Sabbath stitching. So true. I love it. How is your new cutting tool? We have not ventured into it yet because we can't use that on cross stitch cloth. So we didn't cut. I don't want it to rip that, and the linen can sometimes be really fine. So we didn't test it on the cross stitch cloth. I just cut that the old fashioned way. But we are going to be jumping into that new tool. And hopefully I'll take some video so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Betsy, I'm here. Hello, Betsy. Are you back? Just got home from a nerve block injection in my back. My whole leg is numb, so it's a perfect day to sit and stitch. Well, are you okay? And are you back in the United States? Are you back from your trip? Martha, hello. And I hope you feel better. What's going on with that? Why did you need to get a nerve block, Betsy? What's happening? Okay, so today, I think those are all of the new things that I needed to share with you. I have had some questions about our Stitch Along with Lori. We are doing the Prairie Schooler Garden Sampler Stitch Along with Lori Holt. And if you saw her post yesterday, you could see how far Lori has gotten, that quick stitcher. And this is how far I am. I thought I would pull it to share with you. I decided to stitch. Last time that we met, I had decided on what cloth I was going to be stitching on. I decided to stitch on 25 count Prim, Lugana by Lori Holt. And I think it was a fabulous decision because look at these colors on this cloth. Look at that. It kind of looks fabulous on here, if I do say so myself. So for those of you who voted for Prim, good choice. I typically lean towards the modeling, like the hand-dyed cloth, because I think it's so pretty, but I think it looks really nice on this. But I think it looks nice on the modeling too, because Lori did hers on Legacy Fiber Arts Boston Tea Party, and I think hers looks fabulous too. So there is mine. That's how far I am. This one is a really easy one to stick with and to stitch because it's hard to put down. Like it's easy to say, okay, I'm just going to quick stitch those flowers, or I'm just going to quick stitch this section or this section. And then it's easy to move on to the next one. Like it just keeps you coming back. So that's where I'm at for garden samplers. It's a lot of fun to stitch, and I am excited to keep stitching on that. Anything D? Beautiful, Angela, good choice. Sue says, so excited to get my hands on more Legacy Fiber Arts linen, read your newsletter, and made purchase. Thank you. Yes, I sent a newsletter this morning with lots of shop information in there, including Legacy Fiber Arts, and including there was just chock full of information. So hopefully you guys received that and you were able to catch up on all the information that's going on in there. Gorgeous. I'm okay. I'm home. It was a good trip. Excited to be here. Oh, good, Betsy. Gorgeous on Prim. Does LFA offer 18 count Ada? I'm sure that they could. Yeah. If I asked, I could ask Sue about it if you're interested in it. Beautiful stitch. Need to get going on that. It'll be an easy one to get started on and to keep going on because it's fabulous. Okay, so I am ready to start showing you guys stitching stuff. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you guys how I start my stitches. For those, this is kind of aimed towards those people who are thinking about cross stitching, or you want to learn how to cross stitch. You've enjoyed watching our videos. You're like, hey, I want to do that, but I'm a little unsure of how to go. So the first thing that I would recommend, and we will look into putting together a beginner cross stitcher kit, which would include like stitch card set A with some easy cloth to stitch on, and then a floss kit. So you could get a whole kit to just order, and then you would have all the stuff you need. So Lori stitch cards, which look like this, they come in a package like this. This happens to be stitch card set E. You get 4 little charts in a package. I just pulled this one out because this is the first one I'm going to stitch from this set. But these are super quick, easy, very beginner friendly stitches to work on. So I would say this is fabulous. I love the LFA Ada, but I only see 16 count on the website. Yes, I only have 14 count and 16 count LFA on the website. We don't have 18 count. That's because I don't have a lot of 18 count buyers, but I can look into that because I think that that's a possibility that I could get LFA 18 count. I don't currently carry it. Right now for Ada, for LFA, we just have 14 and 16 count. Your metal container is so nice. Thank you. So yes, this is my stitchy container that I keep in my stitching spot upstairs. And it has in here, it first of all captures all of my little threads when I clip. I put them in here and then I can just take container to the garbage and empty the container. It has a little needle minder in here, Cornelius from Chicken Club, because I put my needle there when I am getting thread out or messing around with thread. It's got the unstitcher in here. It's got a scissors, which I always keep handy in here. And then it's got the little tape measure just in case I need it. So this sits, I got this at Hobby Lobby, and this sits at my stitching spot with all of my stitchy stuff in it. So that's what that looks like. I love it. I used to stitch without something like this, and it bugged me because I always put threads like on the armrest next to me, and then they'd get on me, and then they'd end up on the floor, and they'd end up all over the place. And this way I can always put my clipped threads in here. So there's that. I love the LFA Ada. Oh, your metal containers are nice. My preferred count is also 18 count. Oh, okay. I can look into that. Hello, Sandy. 18 has become Pam's favorite too. So I'm going to show you how to start this stitch today. And we're going to have some tripod-free camera work. So wish us luck. First thing that I'm going to grab is my cross stitch key. I already have my needle threaded with the first color that I'm going to use. So if I'm stitching this, I'm going to start with the border. So I have this red color in my needle, whoops, so that I can do the border first. So that's what I have threaded in my needle. And I have scissors handy. I have my little board here with my needle minder that holds my scissors and my needle, and the thread that I'm currently stitching with is on my board too. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cloth and my cross stitch key, and I'm going to measure in about 2 inches. So on this cross stitch key, there's this corner guide, which has 3 holes. The first hole is at 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and 2.5 inches. I typically measure in about 2 inches from the upper left corner to determine where my stitch area starts. That doesn't mean that that's where my first stitch is going to go. Typically, I'll have to count over However, with this cross stitch chart, it is where my first stitch is going to go. So that makes it super easy. So I'm going to measure in 2 inches and we are going to get started with this stitch. I have a tray also in addition to this stitch. Oh, good. Stitchy pillow. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's so helpful. Hello, Pauline. How many strands? Okay, so I'm stitching on 25 count Prim Lugana. That's what this sample was stitched on for this set. Again, you can choose different counts, whatever count you are comfortable on. If you are a beginner, I would recommend 14 or 16 count. And for the kit, I will pick a 14 or 16 count cloth that is comparable in color to the one that is suggested on the pattern. So I'm stitching on 25 count Lugana and I'm going to stitch 2 over 2. And what that means is I'm using 2 threads. So I have 2 strands of threads in here. That's one of the 2s. And then over 2 means I'm going to stitch over 2 threads on my cloth. So 2 over 2. If I'm stitching a 36 count, I will stitch 1 over 2, which means 1 strand of thread over 2 threads or 2 holes on the cross stitch cloth. For 14 count, I use 2 strands. For 16 count Ada, 2 strands. 25 count, 28 count, 2 strands. 32 count, I usually use 2 strands. However, oh my goodness, sometimes I feel like 2 strands is too much, but 1 strand is too little. 36 count, use 1 strand of thread. 40 count, 1 strand of thread. On up would be 1 strand of thread. But since I'm stitching on 25 count today, I'm going to use 2 strands of thread and I'm going to stitch over 2. Do you want to cover how to cut the fabric? So I did cut this fabric already to save time. However, you're going to want to figure out what size fabric you need. How to do that is you are going to take the stitch count of the cross stitch chart that you're working on. So the stitch count for this chart is 32 by 32. And since I'm stitching on 25 count, but I'm stitching over 2, that's actually going to make this, instead of dividing 32 by 25, I'm going to divide 32 by 12 and a half because I'm stitching over 2. So 32 divided by 12 and a half will equal approximately 2.5 inches. So this stitch, once I put the stitch on here, the stitch area is going to finish at about 2.5 by 2.5 inches. But I need extra space here because I don't want to just have for finishing, I need extra cloth around the outside in order to be able to put it mounted on a board, or if I'm going to have it framed, or if I'm going to turn it into a pillow, which is what I do with these, I'm going to need that extra space to work with. So you always add 2 per side. So that would be 2 for the top and 2 for the bottom, which would be a total of 4 inches to one of the numbers, and 2 for this side, 2 for that side, which would be a total of 4 inches for the other number. So if you have 2.5 and 2.5 is what your stitch is going to finish at, you're going to want to add 4 to both of those numbers. So you're going to want to cut your cloth at least 6.5 by 6.5. I actually cut this one at about 7.5 by 7.5 because just want to be safe and not stitch the whole thing and realize that I don't have enough space, which has happened before. So I cut my cloth at 7.5 by 7.5. Hello, Lori. How are you? Hello, hello. You may want to show the needle size and number of thread is on. Oh, Becky, you should be here. Like, you're a producer. You're an honorary producer. So on the cross stitch key, there is a reference guide, which tells you how many strands, which recommends to you how many strands of thread you should use based on the count cloth you're using, and also what size needle you should use based on the count you're using. For this on 25 count, I typically use a size 26 needle, so I'll do that. If you get Lori's Nifty Needles, it comes with a plethora of sizes in here, so you can just pick whatever size works for the cloth you're using. So these are really great for beginner because you don't have to worry about what number you have to deal with. You just need to pick out a needle and see if it doesn't extend the holes, doesn't extend the holes in your cloth. If it does, then go to a smaller size. And, as long as it doesn't like really extend the holes, you should be just fine. So this is great for beginners because it takes the guesswork out of sizes. I typically use these needles. These are the Easy Guide ball tip needle and in a size 26. But I use these as well, and these are fabulous too. So we're going to start with our cross stitch key, and we are going to measure in the 2 inches to be able to know where we start. So we are going to switch. Here we go, people. Hold on tight. Okay. Here's my cloth. Here's my cross stitch key. Here's my needle. So as you can see, I'm going to put the cross stitch key in the upper left corner because that's where I like to start. However, everybody has their own choice, their own preference. You can either start in the top right, or you can start in the center, you can start in the top left, whatever you want. I typically start in the top left, so I'm just going to show you what I tend to do. So this right here, that 2-inch hole, that's where I want to come up through. So I'm going to try my darndest to come up through. Hold on. Sometimes I got to hold it up to the light. Okay. So there, I've come up through that 2-inch hole. Now I can get rid of the cross stitch key because that just helped me determine where to come in for my first stitch. Now, as I said before, sometimes I need to count from here over to where my stitch begins. With this particular stitch, the stitch starts right here at the edge of the stitch area. So I don't need to count over. Okay, so I'm going to secure this first stitch without magnification, which is going to be hard and a ways away from the camera. I'm going to secure this first stitch right here. That's going to be the start of my border. Okay, now, oops, sorry, camera. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to show you how I secure this first stitch. I'm going to hold that there and I'm going to pull the rest of this tight, just like that. That first stitch is secured. And now I can get in there and just start stitching. So if you can get really close, I don't know if this shows up very well. So you can see that here is a hole and I skipped a hole in the middle and I went into the next hole. So I'm not stitching over one, I'm stitching over 2. So there's one thread here and one thread here on the cloth that I'm stitching over. So I skipped this middle hole and I went into this one up here. Same thing down here. There's a hole here. There's a hole here in the middle. And then there's the hole down here. So I skipped this middle hole to go in down here to be able to stitch over 2. And then I'm going to again so do you guys see what I'm talking about here? Trying to get it in a good light. So there's a hole. There's a hole right here under this thread that I'm not going into. And I'm going to go in to this other one up here. And there is the first stitch for the border. The first stitch, yay! Do you ever use the loop method when using an even number of floss strands? No. No, I do not. So then at this point, you have your first stitch secured, and then you're just going to follow the pattern to keep going. Usually I would be stitching with light and magnification. And then you are well on your way, right? I've got the first 2 stitches in, and I'm well on my way to now continuing to go with this stitch. How is that for showing you how to start a cross stitch? Did that help? Do you have questions about it? The other thing is that I typically don't use a hoop. I like to stitch in hand, so I typically don't use a hoop or a Q-snap or anything like that. I just hold my stitch like this, and I just stitch. I don't know if could you guys see that very well? Like was that good for you guys to see? I'm not sure if it came across very clearly because I can't see what you guys are seeing. Does the selvage strip help with finishing? It doesn't help or not help. It's just the same as the rest of it. So I don't think it makes a difference either way. I did position the selvage on the side because especially with bigger stitches, sometimes I bunch it up to be able to hold towards the center where I'm stitching. And, you know, I think the selvage just holds up a little bit more to that. Typically, I'm not very good about this, but typically before you start, you are going to want to do a zigzag stitch around the edge of your cloth to keep it from fraying. So I usually do this sometime between when I start and finish, but usually I'm not super good about starting it right away. But you'll want to take your sewing machine and just do a zigzag stitch around the whole outside. You don't necessarily have to do the selvage side, but the other 3 sides. And if you don't have a selvage, then you'll do that side as well. But then that will keep your cloth from fraying. Because if you don't do that, as you can see, you have these little pieces that will just slowly pull off, and it will decrease the size of your cloth little by little. That was super helpful. Oh, good, Sarah. Oh, good, Kay. Easy to see, and I never stood over 2 because I always stitch on 14 or 16. Yeah, so it just means you're skipping that hole. So if you have, like if you have, can you hand me that pen that I gave? Did I give that to you? No. With that notebook that we set over there? So if you have, let's say that this is your cross stitch, are your cross stitch holes. If you're stitching over 1, which you would typically do with 14 or 16 count, and you could do a 25 count too if you wanted to, would just finish smaller. But if you're stitching over 1, then you're going to go, up through this hole and down through this hole, right? But if you're stitching over 2, you're going to come up through this hole, you're going to skip this middle hole, and you're going to go down through this hole up here. Then the same thing, you're going to come up here and you're going to go down up here. So you're going to skip this hole, you're going to skip this one, you're going to skip the middle one, you're going to skip this one, you're going to skip this one. So it's just skipping a hole instead of going in each one. Yes, easy way to see. And oh, Great job. Thank you, Stacy. I never understood because I stitch on Ada until someone said you count threads, not holes with linen. And then I finally got it. Yeah. Yep. So that is the gist of getting started. And then also a little bit of an introduction how to stitch on Lugana if you're stitching over 2. So my next question with you is, do you guys have any questions? Do you want me to show you anything? Because now is the time. We have camera angles ready to be able to show you stuff. If you have questions about things, now is the time for Q&A so that I can show you in real time answers to the questions that you have. Great explanation. Thank you. You are welcome, Susan. So you guys let me know. I'm going to hide that behind there so you can't see. Let me know if you have more questions. And even if it's just questions about other stuff too, because I'm happy to answer other questions as well. This is the stitchy light that I use so that I can see. Can you guess, Lori? Let's have a game with Lori Holt. I keep not wanting to show that. Ta-da! I have some catching up to do, but I just started Stitch Card Set E. This happy little camper. I really wanted to do something that felt kind of springy, and this one does. So I'm happy that I'm on this one. Because if I was on like the Stitch Card Set F, I may have waited until the fall to start that one. But this is a summery, springy one. I am so in the mood to stitch summer and spring right now. So I'm actually super excited to finish this one. This is how far I am. Lori, I saw yours. Yours looks fabulous. But I'm actually super excited to finish this one so then I can do another start. I would like to start another spring stitch. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, it's perfect for summer. It's just in time for summer. So I'm excited. What you just demonstrated, is that with Lugana or an even weave? It's both the same. This is Lugana, which is an even weave. Would you show how to stitch on linen where you can't see the squares? I sure can. Let me see if I have linen handy. Would you mind going upstairs and in my stitchy drawer, if you grab the sheep bag, there's a blue bag that has sheep on it. It's my Sabbath stitch. We'll try that. I'll grab something so that I can try to show you. Linen is trickier. It's harder. I would say once as a beginner stitcher, this is my opinion, you should start on Ada, right? So I would say 14 or 16 count Ada. But then the next progression after that would be Lugana, like a 25 count Lugana would be the next step, in my opinion, because it gets you used to stitching over 2. The holes are more even, so they're not as difficult to see. And then once you feel comfortable on Lugana, then progress into the linens. That would be my recommendation. Do you sell the light? I do not sell this light. I had tried at one point and they said, we're not taking any more accounts right now. So I tried, but they said no. And so I don't sell it. But I wish I could. I would like to. Just time for summer. Lugana is even weave. Angela, your garden sampler looks so good. Thank you. Yours looks fabulous, my friend. It has been so much fun to stitch with you. Do you use the sewing method? I do use the sewing method. I didn't understand stitching over 2 until I tried the sewing method and could physically see the 2 threads on my needle as I pulled them through. Yeah. Yeah, I do use the sewing method. I just stitch in hand and go. And really enjoy it. Okay, I find very difficult to jump to another section when on linen. I can't keep track. And if I'm off just one thread, I'm sunk. I really want to do Big City on Desert Opalescent. Well, Desert Opalescent is not linen, so that's Lugana. I think it's 25 count. Maybe it's 28 count, but I think it's 25. So that'll be easier for you than linen, because it's just like what I'm stitching on. It just has some opalescent in it. The color is actually very similar to Prim. It's very helpful. Now I know the difference between linen and Lugana. You are welcome. Getting ready to move to Lugana from 18 count. I feel like I can do it. Now you can totally do it. You're going to find how easy it is. And it'll get you used to stitching over 2. You'll settle into that, and then it'll be like a piece of cake. This is the, I don't know what this is. This is the Halo not go. It's the Halo plug into a wall. Is that the difference? So this one is not charged and go. I have one of those, which I do have used sometimes, but it doesn't stay. I must not charge it enough, I think is the problem. Lori, the tip that I always give when stitching on linen is to count the threads, not the holes, especially when skipping to another section. Does that make sense? That does make sense. Count the threads, not the holes. I do not do a good job with that, I would say, but that is a good tip. Thank you. I sure appreciate the demo on linen. I accidentally bought some and don't know how to start. What the hell? Magnifying light is great for these. Yes, I love the magnification, and I can't use the magnification without the light. Hey, hugs from your crocheting friend from California. Hello, Christine. Yeah, I think it's the Halo stay put. It's the Halo stay at home. Okay, so here's a linen. This is 40 count linen. Let me turn this off. That I'm stitching this gorgeous stitch on that I need to get back to because it is so pretty. It is so pretty. This is called the Savior's Praise. This is my Sabbath stitch, which apparently from my lack of progress, I have not been a very diligent Sabbath stitcher these days. I think I've been working on too many Sabbath days. And that needs to stop. I don't particularly like that. I like to, treat the Sabbath days as they should be treated. And I've not been doing a very good job of that lately. So this is what I'm stitching for my Sabbath stitch right now. It's called Savior's Praise by Shakespeare's Peddler. And I'm stitching this on 40 count linen, Belfast Platinum. And it has been so long that I don't even have my needle threaded. So let me just grab a piece of this red and we will try to show you up close if we can, but I might have to move my light and get up on the table to be able to, I won't like physically get up on the table, but you know what I mean. If something calls for 40 count linen, I order 20 count Ada. Yes, you can do whatever you want. Whatever the chart calls for, you don't have to use that. You can, if it calls for 40 count linen, you could stitch on 14 count Ada if you wanted to, depending on the size of the chart. It's just going to change the size of your finished stitch. That's all it's going to do. But you don't be deterred by a chart that says, okay, the called for cloth is XYZ, whatever. And I have to stitch on that, or I have to cut it in half if I need to stitch on a smaller, bigger count, smaller count, but bigger cloth. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to do that. You can stitch any chart on any count you want. If you want it to finish at the same size as what the original chart is, then yes, you would want to cut it in half. So if it would called for 36 count, or if the sample was stitched on 36 count, then you would want to pick an 18 count cloth to keep the size the same. But the size is going to differ so slightly by a difference in cloth that I would not just stitch on what you're comfortable with. Because if you're not comfortable stitching on it, then you're not going to enjoy doing it and you're not going to keep up with it. And then you're just going to have like a slew of unfinished charts, unfinished stitches because you're not enjoying it. So you can stitch whatever chart on whatever you want. The biggest factor is like if the chart is a super large chart, then you just need to be careful about what count you're stitching on so that it doesn't end up being really, really huge. The Sunday stitch is so beautiful. Thank you, Patricia. The amount of threads called for be the same if converting from 36 count linen to 18 count Ada. Yes. Yes, they would. Christine, I think you'd be proud. I hand embroidered a little and stitch whips bag with yarn over the weekend. Nothing compared to your good designs, but I put my hook down for you. Yay! Good for you. Good for you. Okay, we're going to switch to a different camera. And I'm going to try to get this up here so I can see. So you can still see the holes. They're just, not as even and a little bit difficult to see. But like what Lori was saying, if you count, I got to move over here a little bit. If you count the threads, it takes me a second to adjust my eyes. So for example, do you see that on my needle? Can we see on my needle? That's one thread from the cloth that I have on my needle. So that's what Lori is talking about, is this cloth is made up of like a bunch of strands of threads, right? And right here on my needle, you see one of them. So as you're counting, sometimes it might be helpful, instead of counting holes, you count threads. So if I'm stitching over 2 threads, and I want to be sure I have 2 threads on my needle, or that I'm going over 2 of them. So for this one, same thing. I would come up through a hole. And okay, I would only be using 1 strand of thread. I mistakenly put on 2 strands of thread here, but on 40 count, I would just use 1. So just pretend that this is 1 and not 2. So I'd come up through 1, and then I'm going to skip a hole or skip a thread, skip another thread, and go into the next hole. So that underneath this thread that I'm putting in right here, I actually have 2 strands of thread under there. Okay, so I skipped a hole. There's a hole underneath this stitch. So I skipped that. And now, same thing, I'm going to skip this hole on the side, or skip 1 thread, skip 2 threads, go into the next hole. Pull that up. I'm not securing this because I'm going to take it back out. And then same thing, skip a hole, go into the next hole, or skip a thread, skip another thread, And there's the stitch. However, if I were using just one strand instead of two, like for the rest of this, I used one strand. That is how it would look for all those X's versus this. This one's just a little thicker because I have two strands over it. But you can see all the holes. You can still find them, especially if you have magnification. If you need that, some people don't, but you can still see the defined holes. Like it can be a little bit uneven in spots on linen, but it's not terrible. Like you can see right here. Let me see if I can, like right here in this area, there was a thicker, it's a little thicker right there. Right by the S. I can try. It's all backwards on the screen, but right here is a little bit thicker than the other parts of the linen. So sometimes it's a more uneven, is my point. But for the most part, like you can see all here, up here, it's pretty even. You can see where the holes are. Does that help? Does that help people? What did I miss? Where did I miss?
Susan says, my thoughts too. Stitch what you're comfortable and happy with. It should be enjoyable, not a chore.
Mm-hmm. Love the camera, by the way. Thank you. Yes, I see that. Some charts have over one stitching for specialty stitches that are more challenging on Ada. Yes, true. Yep. So if you have to do some of those specialty stitches over one, you already have a hole there. Do you find that many samplers will have some 1 over 1 areas? I did Eleanor Rigby on Ada. It turned out okay, but not. I don't know that any of the ones that I've stitched so far have had over 1 areas. I have done it in the past. What was that on? It was like not on samplers that I recall. So I don't know that it's super common. Lori would maybe be able to answer that better. She stitched a lot more samplers than I have. Lori, if you count the threads by going over 2 of them, then the holes are taken care of within that count automatically. It's easier and faster to count threads instead. There you go. That is so helpful. Both your demo and Lori's explanation. We make a good team. I'm going to try it. Thank you so very much. You're welcome, Chris. Keep us posted. What size is the easiest linen to start with? I would say 32 count would be the easiest. The only tricky thing with 32 count is the amount of threads you use. But I'm stitching on 32 count, and I would say that would be the easiest to start with. 40 is a little bit high. 36 count is lovely to stitch on. What am I stitching on for 36 count? I don't know. I don't know if I'm stitching anything right now with 36 count. So probably 32. But if you're comfortable and if you can see, like if vision is not an issue, then I would say 36 maybe. Thank you, Kay. Is that what they call a slub? Oh, is it? The thicker thread in the linen? I don't know. That sounds like a fun word to use though in like daily conversation. I could see myself using that a lot. Maybe not as it's intended. Thank you, Laurel. Were you taught, as I was, that when stitching on linen that you should start your X off in the lower left, going over a thread that goes over rather than under another thread? Oh, I did not know. I did not learn that. I always start in the lower left with my stitches, with my X's, but I had not heard that about linen. Hello, Donna. That was very helpful. Oh, good. Just beautiful, Angela. Thank you, Nancy. Good videos on stitch in hand. Can't get the hang of it. Why do you think you can't get the hang of it? What's causing the problems for you? Happy Stitcher. Yes, that helps a lot. Seems less intimidating now. Thank you. You are welcome. Good. I want to do a nice sampler. Oh, I hope you will. It's very common in reproduction samplers, meaning over one. Okay. Prairie Life has some over one. Oh, I haven't gotten that far. Some of With Thy Needle and Thread charts have some over one. Is your Farm Sweet Farm quilt? Do you think you will do another barn quilt? Oh. Any info on using metallic blending filament? Oh, goodness, no. I would not be a good person to answer that question. It's a slub. I was told it would give the stitch more loft. Ooh, that's a bussin' slub. Sharon, you crack me up. Okay, so what about stitching in hand is causing you issues? Because I don't know if I could be of help, but maybe. Why, that's a teeny tiny X. It's so small. I need to get back to this stitch because, oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. I just got the newest Lori Holt stitch cards. Looking forward to starting them. Those are supposed to be arriving to me very soon. I thought I was going to get them. Oh, this is supposed to go in there. I thought I was supposed to get them last week, but they're not here yet. But they are in transit to me, so they should be arriving very, very soon. And I can't wait. That set P is so cute. It's so lovely. I'm going to put my needle back with this because otherwise I will lose it. And then I will go to start stitching this again. I'll be like, I don't have a needle. I had a sheep needle minder with this one. Lori's Prim Sheep. I don't know where it went. Sharon, I was thinking the same thing. Sorry, was wanting to use it with white floss on snowflakes. Oh, get ready to custom fuse metallic blending thread. Sharon's not a fan. Chris, I love that your Sabbath stitch is in the sheep bag. Yes. Yes. That was on purpose. I just used a metallic floss with white and it worked great. I find that my floss twists and my stitches don't look as nice when stitching in hand. So, I don't find that. I find stitching in hand is really fabulous. I always try to just, twist and make sure that my floss is not twisted. So I just roll it in my fingers one way or another to make sure it's not twisted. Sometimes I have noticed this lately, and I don't know what the science is behind this or if it makes any logical sense. But I find, when I'm stitching in hand, sometimes I pull kind of straight up as I'm stitching. I'll go in, I'll come out, and then I'll pull straight up. And sometimes I find that my stitches lay nicer if I pull towards myself. Then it doesn't seem to be it looks like it lays flatter. I don't know why that would make any sense, but that's what I have started to kind of mess around with in my head as I'm stitching. Like, huh, if I pull more towards myself, then the thread, maybe it's because when I'm pulling up, it's just pulling the thread up through that hole. I don't really know. And maybe when you pull it towards yourself, it forces the thread to be flatter. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But unwind and then maybe try pulling towards yourself and see if that makes a difference for you. I don't know. Betsy, I can't wait for Stitch Card Set P. They're too cute. They are so cute. Oh my gosh. They're super cute. Hello, Monkey Mary. I see little pillows with the P card for sure. And who was it, darn it, that finished the kitchen set? I can't remember what set letter the kitchen set is, but they finished them all together, like on a paddle board, like a narrow paddle board, and just 4 in a row. And with a little bow at the top, it was adorable. So adorable. Sandy, wow, I didn't realize how big your Sabbath stitch is. Yeah, I gotta keep plugging away at it. Yes, Lori does. She always keeps her Sabbath stitch in her sheet bag. That's where I got the idea. I thought, oh, well, that makes sense. I need to do that too. Stacy, probably slow arrival due to road weather conditions. Looking forward to them. Maybe that is it, the way I'm pulling. Yeah, I don't know. And like I said, I don't know if there's any science behind that, but that's what I've been noticing lately. I love stitching in hand, and I guess it takes practice. Yeah, I love stitching in hand. So I just always, if my thread seems like it's too rounded, like it's too twisted and it looks round instead of flat, then you can try railroading. Some people do that and they have good luck with it, getting their thread to lie a little flatter. I don't do that very much. I just tend to unwind my thread or pull in a different direction and see if that makes a difference. I just play around with it until I figure something out that works. Interesting tip, Angela. I've been pulling up and never towards myself. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Apparently, I've been dissecting my stitching lately, and that's the latest thing that I've come up with. So I am off on a start for Stitch Card Set E. This will stitch up super fast because these stitch cards go so fast. So what I typically do is I will stitch all 4 of these, hopefully sooner rather than later. And then I'll finish them all into my pillows. Like I'll just finish all 4 of them at the same time into these cute little pillows. This is a winter one. We don't want to see that right now. We want to see this. Finish it into a cute little pillow with some happy summer colors on the back, and I'll add it to my pillow bowl. When you're stitching, are you using a table? No, I sit in a comfy chair. I sit in a comfy chair with my feet up and a quilt on me, or an Afghan. But the problem that I've seen with using, we have an Afghan that my sister made for my son, and it's beautiful. And I've kind of stolen it from him, and I use it sometimes. But the problem with that is sometimes it will my thread will catch some of the threads from the Afghan, and then they will get stitched into my piece. So I don't like that, because then it will slightly change, especially if I'm using like a white and this Afghan is navy, like the base color is navy. And then you'll get navy mixed in there with the white. And so a quilt is really a better thing to snuggle in with when you're stitching, in my opinion. So I'm in a chair. I have a table next to me, and there's a light on the table, and I have this on my lap. I have my feet up. I'm very comfy. This is new for me, by the way. For those of you who have followed me for a while, you know that in our other space, I didn't really have a defined space. And so my stitching was constantly like here and there and everywhere. And now I have an organized set space for my stitching. And it is fabulous to know that when I go there, everything that I need is going to be there in my little container here. I have all the stuff that I need, and it's going to be comfy because the chair reclines and I can get really cozy in there, and it's fabulous. So I would suggest getting comfy when you stitch. Like, just do all of the most fabulous things you can do to enjoy the process, because it's supposed to be enjoyable, and fun. For me, reclining after being on my feet all day and putting my feet up, that sounds very pleasant. Sitting at a table to do some stitching sounds like a job. And I want it to be fun. I like to slide my needle up and down to untwist. There you go. Yes, that I do that sometimes too. Have you shown how to make those pillows? I have not, but Lori has. Lori has video. I do mine just a tish different than hers. I don't put the felt on the back because I like to see all Lori's fabric on the back. But Lori has a video of how to make those pillows, and that's the video that I follow when I make these on her YouTube channel. Letting your needle and thread dangle. Yes, I've done that as well. That's how I untangle my thread. It really helps, doesn't it? I stitch and watch you. I want to get myself a she recliner to stitch in. I think that sounds fabulous. I think it sounds fabulous. So yeah, cozy spot. Oh, the other thing I meant to tell you, the new stork scissors are here. We have aqua, or maybe it's called sea glass, and frosting and denim. So there's aqua. There's frosting. New stork scissors by Lori Holt. New colors. And denim, my favorite. So those are new in the shop. Some of you have seen them there already. It really does. Oh, Nancy, I sit in my recliner with a floor lamp that has the bendable lighted magnifier. I love it. I put wool on the backs of my pillows sometimes, but not always. There you go. So yeah, check out Lori's video. It's so easy to make, super easy. You'll love it. You'll be stitching up pillows like crazy. And eventually, so my dough bowl is kind of full now. Oh my gosh, I have so many things. This cute little dahlia bag is in the shop. But my dough bowl is almost full. And so now, oh my gosh, I'm going to get to the point where I will probably divide out some of these pillows by season, maybe, and put some in a separate bowl just by season. So I don't know. We'll see. But they're super fabulous. Where is the... Oh, this is another favorite one. Those stitch cards are so cute. So those are... Can I take that? Sorry. I can't turn around and put it back. Those scissors are so cute. They are so cute in these brand new colors. So yes, I have added these to my stitching area upstairs as well. Yes, it's sea glass. Okay, it's sea glass. How do you position the halo light while you are reclined? It's not always flat. Sometimes it's like this on me so that I can look out of it. But I always have it like toward this bar is towards me. But the nice thing when you're in a recliner and you've got blankets and stuff is this part doesn't always have to be flat. You can kind of have it like this and just resting. I can tuck a blanket under here to kind of keep it at the angle that I need it to be at. So I would say rarely is it flat for me. I usually have it kind of at an angle like this. Wool would look so nice on the back. Yes, it does. And Lori in her video, she puts a cute little safety pin with some cute beads on it. Like it's a cute finish. I love that frosting color. The frosting is very cool too. I would say, who was I just talking to about this? We just had a conversation about Lori's denim colors. That's kind of my favorite. like Sweet Baby James is my favorite colored sewing machine. Thank you, Angela, for carrying things in your shop. Well, thank you for making them, for keeping us all so happy and inspired. It's fabulous. Lori, thank you so much for being so personal with us and for all your videos. You make stitching and sewing fun. It is so, so true. Okay, so here's some news I have for you before I let you go. I hope that this was helpful. Let me know if you guys, in the comment section below, let me know if A, you found it helpful, B, that the camera allowed you to see what you needed to see in order for it to be helpful, and C, if there are other things that you would like to see for us to try to show you. That's number one. Number two, there will be no live stream on Thursday this week. It is spring break. We're going to try to have some family time. So there's not going to be a live stream this week on Thursday. So this will be the only time that I'm seeing you this week. But I hope you guys have a fabulous week and you get some stitching in and some sewing in and all that kind of good stuff. I think that is it for information that I needed to share with you. A lot of information was in the newsletter, so I covered a bunch of stuff in that today. So hopefully you guys got that and have read it. Otherwise, that's all I have for you guys today. And I will plan to see you next week for Flosstube on Monday, which will be the beginning of April already, you guys. So April is coming, and that's when I will see you again. I will see you again in April. Have a fabulous, fabulous day. Thank you so much for being here and joining me. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Flosstube and follow us on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to our newsletter and check out our blog and all that kind of good stuff. And we will see you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Happy stitching, everybody. Take care.